we've got a fun group here of holdings, and we can't go through every single one of them, but there are some notable ones that we want to kind of go through. First of all, we're going to start off with a thematic trade out of David Tepper's Appaloosa Management. In here, what you're seeing right now are the after-hours action in MasterCard, Visa, PayPal, and Square. And the reason why is because Appaloosa, David Tepper's shop, has taken new positions as of June 30th in those payment technology type companies. So an interesting theme developing there if you want to look at it in that way. Also, checking out what's happening here with regard to overall the Berkshire Hathaway 13F, a very fascinating one here, because he has reduced stakes in a large way across the main bank holdings in the portfolio. Wells Fargo, a 27% reduction. JP Morgan cut by 62%. PNC Financial, a 42% reduction, and a 9% reduction in shares of BNY Mellon. By the way, they got completely out of their Goldman Sachs shares as well. One of the other interesting points here is Occidental Petroleum. They had some common equity shares, part of which was a dividend payment from earlier this year from their preferred shares in Occidental. Remember, they loaned them, Berkshire Hathaway, $10 billion to finance their acquisition, help finance their acquisition, Occidentals of Anadarko Petroleum. They are not completely out of their stake in common shares of Occidental, so maybe some oil commentary there. And then one interesting look here, Melissa, gang. It's a new position for Berkshire Hathaway in Barrick Gold as of June 30th of this year. You can see those shares up about 7% in the aftermarket session. Still, materials, one of the best performing sectors over the last couple of months. Gold miners are part of that story. Rising gold prices to records, of course, Melissa. Behind that, Barrick Gold, a big story there. Back over to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dom. Dom Chu. And, of course, the caveat to all these 13F filings is they are as of the end of the second quarter. I don't know who's got the dog, probably BK. As of the end of the second quarter, positions could have changed since then. For instance, Berkshire Hathaway has been an acquirer of Bank of America very recently, at the beginning of this month, actually. So part of that selling of financial stakes could be just sort of portfolio rebalancing here. Brian Kelly, the gold miner in Berkshire Hathaway, that really caught my eye.
That, to me, is the biggest news. And you heard my dogs barking. They thought it was a huge news as well. But listen, this is Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, ostensibly the best investor of all time that has consistently, for the last decade, probably longer, said gold is magical metal. You'll do better off buying American companies. And here he is selling banks, American companies, and buying, albeit into a company, but buying into gold. So to me, the signal for this is that, you know, he's talking about a longer term view. If you're following him, you're saying, hey, wait a second, Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, we trot out there every year to hear what he has to say. He's saying things might not be that great in the future, and gold is the place to be. To me, it's a shocking move.
He's usually so constructive on the markets long term. Of course, he is a long-term investor, Bonawyn. So should we really take it as a signal that he is forecasting, you know, tough times ahead by buying into a gold miner?
The fact that he does have a long-term stance and he is still investing in gold speaks volumes in my point of view. I am certainly following the yellow brick road to Omaha. You know how I feel about gold. Listen, we're talking about inflationary pressures. We've talked ad nauseum about the effects on the dollar currency, and really like what the effects of the current fiscal stimulus is going to have on the back end. And I think, sometimes it's simpler than we try to make it. He's reading exactly what we're reading. He's watching the effects. He's watching twos, tens. He's watching all of this and saying, listen, this is not only a safe haven. This actually might be the new trade going forward in terms of, listen, there's real risk that the dollar, and I hate to really take it this far, but there's real risk. It's something that should be taken into account, that the dollar might no longer be considered the reserve currency. And if that happens, yeah, I want to own some gold in the portfolio. You can own the American companies too.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this is a position that Warren Buffett himself initiated on behalf of Berkshire Hathaway, or if it was one of his lieutenants. And that we might find out in the future.